Every Saturday morning, the Hope Valley Adoption Center opened its doors to people looking for a dog. Some came with children, some came as couples, some came alone, carrying quiet sadness they never spoke about. But this Saturday was different. Instead of people walking through cages and pointing at dogs, the shelter director, Emily, arranged something special. She placed 10 chairs in a bright room, asked the visitors to sit quietly, and said, "Today, we're going to let the dogs choose."
You're coming home with
At
me,
first,
sweet
everyone
boy.
smiled. A little boy named Noah sat with his father. A young nurse named Sarah sat near the window.
Chose her.
A retired soldier named
That is
Daniel
so
sat with his
sweet. I
hands
think it's a
folded.
perfect match.
And in the last chair sat an old woman named Margaret, holding a small blue sweater in her lap. The first dog
definitely
entered the
picked
room.
you.
He was a golden retriever named Max, full of energy, with a
That is
tail
so
that moved like
wonderful.
sunshine.
What a
Everyone
sweet
expected Max to
dog.
run to the child, but Max walked past everyone and stopped in front of Daniel. Daniel looked surprised. Max gently placed one paw on Daniel's boot and lowered his head. Daniel's eyes filled with tears. For years after returning home from service, he had slept with the lights on. Loud sounds scared him. Crowded places made him nervous. He never told anyone how lonely he felt, but Max knew. Daniel whispered, "You picked me." Max wagged his tail once, as if saying, "Yes, I did."
Oh, wow, he picked
The room
me.
became quiet.
Wow,
Then the
that's
second dog
wonderful.
entered. She was a small white dog named Bella. She had been rescued from a home where nobody had loved her properly. She moved slowly, afraid of sudden hands and loud voices. Sarah, the nurse, watched her carefully. She didn't call Bella. She didn't reach out. She only opened her palm and waited. Bella walked around the room, then stopped near Sarah's chair. For a long moment, she just stared. Sarah's eyes softened. "I know," she whispered. "Sometimes people hurt the gentle ones." Bella stepped closer and rested her tiny head against Sarah's shoe. Sarah started crying. She spent her life caring for sick people in the hospital, but when she went home, nobody was waiting for her. She was tired of being strong for everyone else. Bella climbed into her lap, and for the first time in months, Sarah smiled like someone had finally cared back. Then came a nervous black Labrador named Cooper. He entered with his ears low and his tail tucked.
There you are.
Noah, the little boy, watched, him
that's
with wide
lovely.
eyes.
They found
Noah
each
had
other.
recently lost his mother. Since then, he barely spoke. His father brought him to the shelter, hoping a dog might bring some light back into his life. Cooper slowly walked toward Noah. Noah did not move. Cooper sat in front of him and gently placed his head on the boy's knees. Noah's lips trembled. Then in a tiny voice he said, "Hi." His father covered his mouth, trying not to cry. It was the first word Noah had spoken in days. Cooper licked his hand. Noah hugged him tightly and whispered, "You can miss someone too, right?" Nobody in the room said anything, because everybody understood. Then Emily opened the door one last time. An old brown dog walked in. His name was Charlie. Charlie was 12 years old. His face was gray. His steps were slow. Most people who visited
You're coming home
the
with me,
shelter
sweet
looked
boy.
past him because
I
they
think we're
wanted
gonna be
puppies.
very happy together.
But Charlie still had love left. He looked around the room calmly, as if he was not searching for excitement. He was searching for peace. Margaret, the old woman in the last chair, lowered her eyes. The blue sweater in her hands had belonged to her late husband's dog.
It's all right, buddy.
After her husband passed
Wow, look at
away,
that connection.
the house
It's beautiful.
became too silent. The kitchen chair stayed empty.
Oh, look at
The
that.
porch light stayed off, and every
We found
evening
this
felt longer than the one before.
That is so sweet.
Charlie walked straight to her. He stopped at her feet, then slowly rested his head in her lap. Margaret's hands shook as she touched his gray face. "Oh, sweetheart," she whispered. "You're old too." Charlie closed his eyes. Margaret began to cry, but she was smiling through the tears. "I thought no one would choose me anymore," she said. Emily wiped her eyes and replied softly, "Maybe Charlie was waiting for someone. who understood him. By the end of the day, every person in that room left with a dog. But the truth was, nobody really knew who rescued who. Daniel found courage in Max. Sarah found comfort in Bella. Noah found his voice with Cooper. And Margaret found a reason to turn the porch light on again because of Charlie. That day taught everyone one simple lesson. Dogs do not care how rich you are. They do not care how perfect your life looks. They do not care if your heart is broken, tired, lonely, or afraid. Sometimes they can feel the pain people hide from the world, and sometimes the dog nobody expected walks across the room and chooses the human who needs love the most. So if you ever feel unwanted, forgotten, or alone, remember this: love does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it walks in quietly on 4 small paws.